House will come to order. Members, please take your seats. Head page.
The House is now in session. All persons not entitled to privileges of the floor, please retire to the gallery.
The members will rise and be led in prayer by Reverend Robert Elliott Jr., pastor, Morning Star Baptist Church, Prince George, and remain standing for the Pledge of Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, which will be led by the delegate from Alexandria, Delegate Herring.
Let us pray. Most holy, wise, and eternal Father, we come humbly before your throne of mercy and grace, beseeching your holy presence in this historical and storied place. Master, I ask that you would come now and anoint these, your humble servants, with the presence and the power of the Holy Spirit that will lead, guide, and direct them as they stand in the seats of servitude for their fellow men. Lord, I ask that you would send your light and your love, your light that will drive out darkness and your love that will drive out hatred. We ask now that your will be done in this place. As it is in heaven, let it be done on earth. Have your will and have your way, that your way will be done. In Jesus' mighty name I pray. Amen.
Amen.
Tone.
The members will answer the roll call by indicating their presence on the electronic voting board. Clerk will close the roll.
Mr. Speaker, a quorum is present.
Pursuant to House Rule 3, I've examined and approved the General House of Delegates for Wednesday, March 11, 2026. Motions and resolutions under Rule 39, pursuant to the provisions of Rule 40, are now in order. Does the clerk have any communications or announcements?
Yes, sir. Communications, there are two. Communication from the Senate. The Senate has insisted on its amendments and requested a committee of conference on the following legislation. House bills 173, 178, 308, 820, 931, 1041, 1186, 1207, and 1301.
Delegate from Alexandria, Delegate Herring.
Mr. Speaker, I move that the House accede to the request of the Senate for committees of conference on the previously reported legislation.
Delegate from Alexandria, Delegate Herring moves that the House accede to the Senate's request for committees of conference on the previously announced legislation. As many in favor of the motion will say aye. Those opposed, no. The motion is agreed to.
Mr. Speaker, in another communication from the Senate has rejected the House amendments to the following Senate legislation. Senate Bills 190, 220, 518, and 536.
Delegate from Alexandria, Delegate Herring.
Mr. Speaker, I move that the House insist on its amendments and request committees of conference on the previously reported legislation.
Delegate from Alexandria, Delegate Herring moves that the House insist on its amendments to the previously announced legislation and request committees of conference. All those in favor say aye. All those opposed, no. The motion is agreed to.
Mr. Speaker, members of the House, just remind the body, today is the last day to put bills into conference, so we'll be a stop-start sort of day because we'll have to do things, insist to cede back and forth with the Senate. So if bills don't get into conference, they're dead. So we probably won't just kind of have an unusual day ahead. Also remind the body that all single-house HR commending memorial resolutions need to be filed up here by 5 o'clock pursuant to House Resolution 29, the procedural resolution. Therefore, starting tomorrow, only conference reports and certain joint resolution may be considered. And speaking of conference reports, as they are released, they can be found on LIS and on IHOD for the members here in the chamber. In IHOD, the bills for conference reports are found in the conference report received category. Once they are acted on, they move to the conference report completed category. And starting today, whenever a conference report is released, an email will be sent to all delegates notifying you of its availability. So if you bring them up here, our default assumption is it's ready to go, so we process that and publicize it. So if you're not ready to share your conference report with everyone quite yet, then don't give it to us here at the front desk. With that, pursuant to House Rule 40, Speaker, I ask that you use your request to speak button for the agenda items listed for reference up on the voting board.
Delegate from Dinwiddie, Delegate Pope Adams.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I rise for the purpose of an introduction.
Delegate has the floor.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Today's invocation was delivered by Reverend Dr. Robert L. Elliott, Jr., pastor of Morning Star Baptist Church in Brandon, Virginia. I ask that he please stand. Mr. Speaker, Dr. Elliott is a proud, lifelong resident of Claremont in Surrey County. A graduate of Surrey County Public Schools, he continued his studies at Norfolk State University before answering the call to serve his country in the United States Air Force, where he worked with the military police. After his military service, Reverend Elliott continued his commitment to public service for 13 years with the Prince George County Police Department, serving as a detective and also as the department's unofficial chaplain. His spiritual journey has forever been rooted at Morning Star Baptist Church, where he was baptized, later ordained as a deacon, and licensed to preach. After pastoring Union Baptist Church for 7 years, he returned home to lead the Morning Star congregation. Under his leadership, the church has continued to grow, including the construction of a brand new sanctuary in 2008. Dr. Elliott holds a bachelor's degree, a Master of Divinity, and a Doctor of Ministry from Richmond, Virginia Seminary, and is joined in both ministry and life by his beautiful wife, Deaconess Jacqueline Whitley Elliott. Mr. Speaker, please join me in extending a warm house welcome to Reverend Dr. Robert L. Elliott, Jr.
Welcome to the Capitol this morning. The delegate from Campbell, Delegate Zare.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I rise for an introduction.
Delegate has the floor.
Mr. Speaker, I am proud to introduce my friends from Commonwealth Christian Academy and ask them to stand. They're in the balcony with us today. Commonwealth Christian is a ministry of Community Baptist Church, and they use the Accelerated Christian Education program that gives their students not only a superior accredited education, but also instills biblical character to help them become better citizens. These students are studying U.S. government and civics and are here to have firsthand experience of their state government in action. Additionally, they are preparing regional competition in music, academics, and athletics. Commonwealth Christian is grateful to be here and appreciate your prayers as they endeavor to grow into responsible citizens. Please join me in welcoming them here today.
Welcome to the Capitol today. A delegate from Henrico, Delegate McQuinn.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I rise for an announcement.
The delegate has the floor.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, on Saturday, March the 14th, 2026, 10 a.m. at the Bell Tower, Capitol Square, will be a recognition of COVID-19 Remembrance Day in Virginia. On March the 14th of 2020, actually marked the first day when Virginia recorded its first death from COVID, and that moment signaled a major health crisis for Virginia. We lost over 24,000 people, and 860,000 are still living with long COVID. And so, Mr. Speaker, I want to take this time and invite everyone to please come and join us at the Bell Tower again on Saturday at 10 a.m. for the COVID-19 Remembrance Day in Virginia. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
The delegate from Bedford County, Delegate Griffin.
Mr. Speaker, I rise for an introduction.
Delegate has the floor.
Mr. Speaker, today we have friends from VCU. I'd ask them and their friends to please stand this morning. Obviously, we have world-class healthcare here in Virginia and at VCU, and some of our friends stopped by today. I can personally attest that they have helped personal friends of mine, that they've done a great job over there, so I'd ask everyone to please welcome them to the Capitol today.
Welcome to the Capitol today. The delegate from Chesterfield, Delegate Dougherty.
Mr. Speaker, I rise for a motion.
The delegate has the floor.
Mr. Speaker, I move that the House take up out of order House Resolution 206 on page 30 of today's calendar.
Clerk will report a resolution.
Commending resolutions laid on the Speaker's table. House Resolution 206, commending Sabrina Skloot.
Mr. Speaker, I move the adoption of the resolution and request to speak to the motion.
The delegate has the floor.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Can the friends and family of Sabrina please rise? Sabrina SLIQ graduated from Thomasdale High School in my district, and she later went to the Medical College of Virginia, which is now the VCU School of Medicine, where she pursued a career in pharmacy. Over the course of her career, Sabrina worked in retail pharmacies such as Walgreens, CVS, Walmart, and for HCA, Virginia Hospital System. But she always has been about service to the community too. Sabrina volunteered with the Chesterfield Health District Medical Reserve Corps to support the community during the public health emergencies, including COVID-19 pandemic, where she administered vaccines to nursing homes, residents, hospital employees, residents of rural areas too. She has worked to enhance the lives of others in many ways, including helping with food distributions, clothing drives, and other charitable initiatives, as well as volunteering with Habitat for Humanity to build 2 homes in Northside Richmond, not far from here. Sabrina knows that every person deserves to be treated with equal respect. In her wisdom and hope for a better future, she has supported numerous advocacy events and demonstrations, including the Women's March and events supporting the passage of the Equal Rights Amendment here in Virginia. Sabrina's commitment to civic engagement also has been evident through her work as a census taker with the U.S. Census Bureau and a longtime poll worker on election days. She has inspired countless people through her unwavering optimism, resiliency, personal integrity, kindness, and grace. While she now spends her time in Virginia Beach, her service in my district and across the Commonwealth as a retired pharmacist and passionate volunteer, helping communities in the Commonwealth for many years as an advocate for voting rights, women's rights, and dignity for people in need, is an inspiration to me, and I'm proud to call her my friend. Mr. Speaker, members of the House, after the resolution passes, please join me in giving her a warm House welcome.
The delegate from Chesterfield, Delegate Doherty, moves that the House adopt House Resolution 206, commending Sabrina SLIQ. All those in favor will say aye. Aye. All those opposed, no. The motion is agreed to. Congratulations. Delegate from Patrick County, Delegate Williams.
Good morning, Mr. Speaker.
Good morning.
I rise because my speak button was still on. I don't need anything. Thank you, sir.
Nobody would believe me if I told them. The delegate from Virginia Beach, Delegate Converse Fowler.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I rise for the purpose of an introduction.
The delegate has the floor.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Joining us today in the gallery are students and educators from Salem High School, located in House District 96, and I ask that they please rise. Since 1989, Mr. Speaker, the Salem Sun Devils have been a pillar of academic excellence in Virginia Beach. My husband is an alumni, and my daughter is currently a student there. Home to one of the largest Filipino-American student populations in the city, they represent the wonderfully diverse culture of the largest city in the Commonwealth. Salem High School is well-renowned for its rigorous and in-depth visual and performing arts program academy, with classes in its history having performed at Carnegie Hall and the White House, Mr. Speaker, among other great venues. Mr. Speaker, I hope the members of the body will join me in offering a warm house welcome to the students and educators from this great Virginia Beach school.
Welcome to the Capitol today. The delegate from Fairfax, Delegate Watts.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I ask that we take House Joint Resolution 280 on page 25 of today's calendar out of order.
The clerk will report a resolution.
Memorial resolutions laid on the Speaker's table. House Joint Resolution 280, celebrating the life of the Honorable Gerald Edward Connolly.
Delegate from Fairfax, Delegate Watts.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Before moving passage of HJR 280, I request permission to take center aisle and to be joined by all members who represent any portion of the 11th Congressional District or of Fairfax County, so that we might present this resolution to Congressman Connolly's family, who are with us today.
The delegate may take the center aisle. The House will be at ease. The delegate from Fairfax, Delegate Watts.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Speaking to the resolution.
The delegate has the floor.
Mr. Speaker and members of the House, I have had the real privilege of sorting through so many things that could be said about Congressman Jerry Connolly in the last few days and his extraordinary life of service. How in the world to choose what is most significant for this moment? But I've decided that first, let me touch on the foundation that underpinned his dedication to public service, and then share with you what Jerry himself expressed as guiding him. I know nothing would have meant more to him than to pass on in the continuing mentor role that he loved and that certainly our own delegate Sewell benefited from as a member of his staff and as the chief co-patron of this resolution. That gave him strength and purpose, hoping that it will help each of us to renew our dedication to public service. Jerry was born in Boston, and by age of 8, he was out canvassing for John Kennedy Senate re-election. This son of a good Catholic family spent 6 years studying for the priesthood and preparing to serve as an overseas missionary. Instead, he took all that focus and went to work with the American Freedom from Hunger Foundation and the U.S. Committee for Refugees before getting a master's in public administration from Harvard and joining the Senate Foreign Relations Committee staff specializing in funding foreign aid. Jerry's chosen Bible passage for those gathered for his funeral wasn't one of comfort. It was the parable of the Good Samaritan who stopped, who helped when everybody else passed by. And as his chief of staff underscored in reading this passage, quote, Jerry believed in private kindness. He had a fierce insistence on recognizing the shared humanity in us all, seeing every person first and foremost as a human being, regardless of their background or status or the label society might give them. His obituary featured this simple counsel: bloom where you're planted. Jerry left the seminary to be more involved, and that simple focus to do what you can, wherever you can, took him from cleaning up a neighborhood tank farm to a district supervisor on the Fairfax County Board of Supervisors, to countywide chairman, to Congress, to president of the NATO Parliamentary Assembly, and to earning a legislative effectiveness score in Congress more than 7 times higher than the average House member. He was particularly noted for pushing strong oversight, seeing it as something where you're listening to constituents, finding patterns, and building solutions that help people across the board. Congressman Connolly honed that as a local government official. As chair of the Virginia Association of Counties, he found patterns of common interest that affect us all throughout Virginia. At home, he was a fierce and effective in building solutions, including rail to Dulles, that unlocked Fairfax County's economic potential and raised revenue to help people across the board with funding dedicated to affordable housing and environmental protection. Jerry's pragmatism and his meticulous preparation for every task he undertook helped yield those accomplishments. I knew him as a funny, gregarious nerd. The Good Samaritan and bloom where you are planted are easy to remember. Now let me wrap with a quick succession of other lodestars that guided Jerry. From Senator Tim Kaine's eulogy at his services, Jerry believed we must serve with mission, with passion and with accountability for results. From Jerry himself, when you get power, you have an obligation to exercise it responsibly, but exercise it. Otherwise, why seek it? He carried in his wallet the words of Teddy Roosevelt, quote, "It is not the critic who counts. The credit belongs to the man who is actually in the arena, whose face is marred by dust and sweat and blood, who strives valiantly to do the deeds, who knows great enthusiasm, who spends himself in a worthy cause, who at best knows in the end the triumph of a high achievement, and who at worst, if he fails, at least fails while daring greatly." And from you, Mr. Speaker, in your statement on the passing of Congressman Gerald Connolly, quote, "He made his way to the top ranks of Congress not only because of his intelligence and unmatched work ethic, but because people trusted him, believed in him, and above all, loved him." That love and his wife Smitty's and his daughter Caitlin's and her wonderful husband's and Jerry's joy of life was echoed in the most wonderful funeral recessional through the upbeat playing of Aretha Franklin's "Say a Little Prayer for Me," whatever, forever, I'll love you. Mr. Speaker, I move adoption of the resolution and ask that when the House adjourn today, it adjourn in honor and memory of Congressman Gerald E. Connolly.
Delegate from Fairfax, Delegate Watts, moves the adoption of House Joint Resolution 280 celebrating the life of the Honorable Gerald Edward Connolly. And she asks that when the House adjourn today, it do so in the honor and memory of the Honorable Gerald Edward Connolly. All those in favor of adoption of the resolution shall rise. The resolution is adopted. The House will be at ease. The House will come to order. The delegate from Lynchburg, Delegate Walker.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I rise for a motion.
The delegate has the floor.
Mr. Speaker, I move that the House take up out of order H.R. 321 on page 30 of the calendar.
The clerk will report a resolution.
Commending resolutions laid on the Speaker's table. House Resolution 321, commending the Sandusky Middle School girls basketball team.
The delegate has the floor.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Recognize an exceptionally group of young student athletes from my district who are joining us here in the gallery today. The Sandusky Middle School Lady Spartans, the basketball team, if they would stand. This year, the Lady Spartans accomplished something that hasn't been done at Sandusky Middle School in more than 20 years. They completed a perfect 11-0 regular season, the school's first undefeated season since 2004. They also won both the Lynchburg City Championship and the Seminole District Championship. What makes this team so special is simple. They worked hard, they built friendship and teamwork that turns into a talented group of players and to a championship team. Game after game, they showed up, they pushed themselves, and made themselves better. The success came from the determination and willingness to give all for their teammates every time they stepped on the court. Mr. Speaker, these young women represent the very best of Lynchburg. They have made their school, their families, and our entire community proud. And Mr. Speaker, the delegate from the city of Roanoke, Mr. Sewell, I'd like to extend this opportunity for him to maybe consider recruiting some winning players for next year's Capitol Square Classic. And I'd be delighted to introduce them to you shortly. So with that, Mr. Speaker, I renew my motion and ask that the House join me in congratulating the Sandusky Middle School Lady Spartans, an extraordinary season, well-deserved championship.
The delegate from Roanoke City, Delegate Russell, are you speaking to the motion?
Mr. Speaker, speaking to the motion.
The delegate
Mr. Speaker, I think I speak on behalf of all of us. We have 100 internships just waiting for you all next session. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
So, Mr. Speaker, we'll make sure they get to the front of the line.
The delegate from Lynchburg, Delegate Walker, moves that the House adopt House Resolution 321, commending the Sandusky Middle School girls basketball team. All those in favor of the motion will say aye. Aye. All those opposed, no. The motion is agreed to. Congratulations. Looks like y'all need to recruit some of them so we stop losing to the Senate. The delegate from Newport News, Delegate Price.
Mr. Speaker, I rise for an introduction and a motion.
The delegate has the floor.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. In the gallery today, we have representatives from Newport News Public Schools, including the Executive Director of Child Nutrition Services and members of the school nutrition team from schools across the district, and I ask that they please stand. They are here to celebrate Virginia's success with the Community Eligibility Provision, or CEP. CEP is a USDA program that allows eligible schools to serve no-cost breakfast and lunch to all students without collecting household income applications. By eliminating paperwork and reducing stigma, CEP helps more students participate in school meals. Mr. Speaker, in 2014, there were 11 divisions and 86 schools participating, and now there are 116 divisions and more than 1,200 schools today. And that includes all 26,000 of Newport News Public School students and about 708,000 1,000 students across the Commonwealth enjoying no-cost meals. We know, Mr. Speaker, that when students eat, they experience better nutrition, reduced hunger, and stronger academic outcomes. And when meals are provided, family budgets can stretch, and school nutrition teams like those here with us today can focus more on serving students and less on paperwork. And today we thank those who have a hand in making sure that students are fed. To that end, let us commend the community eligibility provision schools for their achievements in expanding access to no-cost school meals and supporting the academic success and overall wellness of their students. And Mr. Speaker, to express the General Assembly's appreciation for their commitment to student nutrition, I would like to call out of order House Joint Resolution 267 on page 30.
Clerk will report resolution.
House Joint Resolution 267, commending the Community Eligibility Provision CEP schools in Virginia.
Delegate from Newport News, Delegate Price.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I move that we would adopt the resolution, and after that is finished, I hope that we will give the CEP professionals a warm House welcome.
The delegate from Newport News, Delegate Price, moves that the House adopt House Joint Resolution 267, commending community eligibility provision schools in Virginia. All those in favor of the motion will say aye. All those opposed, no. The motion is agreed to. Congratulations, and thank you for being here. The delegate from Hampton, Delegate Thornton.
Mr. Speaker, I rise for the purpose of an introduction.
Delegate has the floor.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. It is my honor today to recognize representatives from the Center of Common Ground. Will you please stand? Mr. Speaker, it was March 1775 when Patrick Henry said, "Give me liberty or give me death." He was speaking about the colonists arming themselves for battle for the British. And today we have the Center for Common Ground that are arming voters with knowledge. The Center for Common Ground is a nonpartisan organization dedicated to strengthening democracy by increasing civic participation and voter knowledge. Last year, their volunteers mailed over 1 million handwritten postcards and made over 220,000 phone calls to voters of color. So today, Mr. Speaker, I would like the House to give them a warm House welcome.
Welcome to the Capitol today. The delegate from Virginia Beach, Delegate Converse Fowler.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I rise for the purpose of an introduction.
Delegate has the floor.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. In the gallery today are advocates from the coalition Vote Yes to 10-1, and I ask that they please rise. Thank you. Mr. Speaker, we finally did it. Thanks to these folks and many others, we have secured a fairer system of voting in Virginia Beach. They worked tirelessly to spread the word of the referendum this past year to make sure that every voter in Virginia Beach had an equal opportunity to vote and give voice to issues that matter. I hope the members of the body will join me in offering them a warm, celebratory House welcome.
Welcome to the Capitol today. Delegate from Albemarle, Delegate Lawfer.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I rise for an introduction.
The delegate has the floor.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Joining us in the gallery today is Sin Barreras, and I would ask them to please rise. On Monday, Mr. Speaker, we passed House Resolution 211, commending the work of Sin Barreras. Sin Barreras is a local nonprofit organization based in Charlottesville that tirelessly serves the Hispanic immigrant community in Central Virginia through the provision of support services, education, advocacy, and cultural events. Sin Barrera simply translates to without barriers. This captures the heart of this organization. Community members who are tirelessly working to remove barriers, build bridges, provide aid in navigating our system, and promote unity and cultural inclusivity. Sin Barreras was started in 2012 by a few dedicated people who recognized the needs of our Spanish-speaking neighbors and took action. Their mission is to empower immigrants and their families in Central Virginia, with a focus on educating, advocating, and supporting their needs. Whether it is by assisting with government interactions, navigating different systems and their respective paperwork, offering educational courses, or hosting key cultural events in our community in which Delegate Carlson and myself have participated. Sin Barreras has become an invaluable resource for our community. So on behalf of Delegate Carlson and myself, I ask that the members of the House please join me in extending a warm House welcome to the members of Sin Barreras.
Welcome to the Capitol today. Delegate from Newport News, Delegate Simons.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I rise for the purpose of an introduction.
Delegate has the floor.
Today in the gallery, we have students from Woodside High School's Social Studies Honor Society. If they could please stand. This is one of the largest social studies honor societies in the state of Virginia, and these outstanding students are here today as part of their commitment to civic engagement and are eager to learn about the democratic process. Please join me in giving them a warm House welcome.
Welcome to the Capitol today. The delegate from Fauquier County, Delegate Weber.
Mr. Speaker, I rise for a motion.
The delegate has the floor.
Mr. Speaker, I move that we adjourn in the honor and memory of Nicole Guggenheim Yancey, and if I could speak to that motion.
The delegate has the floor.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I rise today to ask the House to adjourn in the honor and memory of Nicole Guggenheim Yancey, a woman whose life served as a remarkable bridge between two nations, generations, and the enduring ideals of liberty. Nicole Yancey was born July 26, 1941, in Saint-Amand-Montrond, France, during one of the darkest moments in modern history. Her parents, André and Claudine Guggenheim, were Jewish, and her father served as a lieutenant in the French army with the Free French forces fighting Nazi Germany. During the war, Nicole and her sister were hidden on a farm near the border between Nazi-occupied France and Vichy, France, by Etienne and Marie Bosseri, brave farmers who risked everything to save two young girls. Nicole would later say those farmers were her true grandparents. Her father's brothers, members of the French resistance, were murdered by the Germans shortly after D-Day in 1944. Yet from that tragedy emerged a life defined not by bitterness, but by gratitude, resilience, and a deep belief in the bonds between free peoples. After the war, Nicole returned with her family to Orleans, France. Through the friendship of her mother, a nurse at the American Army Hospital, she was given the opportunity to come to the United States as a foreign exchange student at the College of William & Mary. She arrived in Virginia in 1963 and attended what was then Christopher Newport College in Newport News, becoming its first foreign exchange student and helping the young institution during its early years. Virginia soon became her home. Mr. Speaker, in 1965, she married John Pinckney Yancey III, and together they raised three children, Richard, Christopher, and David, who was named in honor of one of those who protected Nicole during the war. Many of us here had the honor of serving with David in this chamber, and I had the privilege of being his seatmate for 8 years. And Mr. Speaker, I know how deeply he loved his hero. Her legacy continues through her children, their spouses, and her grandchildren. In 1975, Mr. Speaker, during preparations for the bicentennial of the American Revolution, Nicole was asked to assist in representing France's role in the victory at Yorktown. That request grew into a lifetime devoted to preserving the Franco-American alliance. For decades, she helped organize Yorktown Day commemorations, worked with historians to erect monuments honoring French soldiers who died during the siege of Yorktown, and helped identify historic sites connected to the French forces who fought for American independence. For 25 years, she served as an honorary consul of France to the Commonwealth of Virginia, strengthening the cultural and historical ties between our two nations. Her work extended into diplomacy and education. She helped create sister city relationships between communities in Virginia and France, organized student exchanges, and assisted in the development of French-American School of Norfolk. In 1981, she served as a translator between President Ronald Reagan and President Francois Mitterrand during the G7 summit in Williamsburg. Nicole never forgot the lessons of her childhood. As a Holocaust survivor, she shared her testimony in the United States Holocaust Memorial Museum, the Virginia Holocaust Museum, military installations, and schools across the Commonwealth so that future generations would understand the cost of hatred and the value of freedom. She also worked tirelessly to identify American World War II veterans and present them with France's Legion of Honor, recognizing their role in liberating her homeland. In 2007, Mr. Speaker, after decades of service to the Commonwealth, Nicole proudly became a citizen of the United States. Mr. Speaker, few lives so clearly embody the entwined histories of two great republics. From a child hidden during the Holocaust to a champion of the Franco-American alliance here in Virginia, Nicole Yancey's life was a testament to resilience, gratitude, service, and love. She reminded us that liberty is not the story of one nation alone. It is a shared inheritance carried forward by people of courage and conviction. Mr. Speaker, I ask that the House adjourn today in the honor and memory of Nicole Guggenheim Yancey.
The delegate from Fauquier County, Delegate Weber, moves that when the House adjourn today, it do so in the honor and memory of Nicole Guggenheim Yancey. All those in favor of the resolution will rise. The motion is agreed to. Delegate from Spotsylvania, Delegate Cole.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I rise for the purpose of an introduction.
The delegate has the floor.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. It is with great pride and deep admiration that I recognize the National Women's Political Caucus of Virginia, and if they would all rise. The National Women's Political Caucus of Virginia is an organization that has stood for decades as one of the Commonwealth's most steadfast champions of women's voices in the halls of government and civic life. Founded on the enduring belief that true democracy requires the full and equal participation of women at every level of political life, the NWPC of Virginia has worked tirelessly to recruit, train, and elect women to public office. From local school boards and city councils to right here in the Virginia General Assembly and beyond. Their commitment is to a simple principle that women belong in leadership and that decisions shaping our communities, our families, and our futures must include women's perspectives at the table. Over the years, NWPC Virginia has done more than endorse candidates. They have built a movement. Through mentorship programs, candidate training academies, grassroots organizing, and unwavering political advocacy, they have given countless women the tools, the confidence, and the community needed to step forward and serve. The women they have supported have gone on to make history in the Commonwealth, breaking barriers and opening doors that had long been closed. Their work is rooted in a simple but powerful truth. When women lead, communities thrive. Research and experience alike confirm that legislatures with more women enact stronger protections for families, for health care, for education, and for economic opportunity. NWPC Virginia understands this. They act on it every single day. To every woman they have encouraged to run, to every leader they have helped shape, and to every barrier they have helped dismantle, Virginia is stronger, more just, and more representative because of their work. Mr. Speaker, I ask that the members of the House join me in welcoming the National Women's Political Caucus of Virginia to the Virginia House of Delegates and in thanking them for their remarkable legacy, their relentless energy, and their profound impact on the political landscape of the Commonwealth.
Welcome to the Capitol today. Delegate from Virginia Beach, Delegate Cummings Fowler.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Today I move that we adjourn in memory of Sergeant First Class Nicole Amore and ask to speak to that motion.
Delegate has the floor.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Sergeant First Class Amore served our nation for more than 20 years in the National Guard and Army Reserve. She was a wife, a mother of two, and someone who dedicated her life to serving others. On March 1st, she was killed in Kuwait in a drone attack connected to the growing conflict with Iran. Just days before, she was expected to return home to her family. Those who volunteer to serve our country do so with courage and conviction, but we, the policymakers, carry a different responsibility. When we allow conflicts to grow, when tensions escalate into violence, it is people like Sergeant First Class Amore who bear the ultimate cost. Today, we honor her life, her service, and the family she leaves behind. And we remember that every life lost in war should weigh heavily on those of us entrusted with decisions that send Americans into harm's way. Mr. Speaker, in gratitude for her service and in solemn recognition of that sacrifice, I ask that when this body adjourns today, it do so in memory of Sergeant First Class Nicole Amore.
The delegate from Virginia Beach, Delegate Cummings Fowler, moves that when the House adjourn today, it do so in the honor and memory of Sergeant First Class Nicole Amore. All those in favor shall rise. The motion is agreed to. Clerk will announce the next order of business.
Second portion of the morning hour is reserved for the announcement of legislation to be moved from uncontested regular. There are two. First category of today's calendar, Senate Bills third uncontested, pages 4 and 5. Senator Lucas's SB 835 and SB 836. Out of the block over to the regular calendar, request of Delegate Wyatt.
The clerk will announce the next order.
Third portion of the morning hour is announcement of member requests for legislation by for today, and if any, the motion by the majority leader. There are three. Second category, Senate Bills third regular, page 5, Senator Durant's SB 602, by for the day, at the request of Delegate Tran. Over in the category forwarding in the calendar to memorial resolutions, page 28, Senator Dees SJ 238 is by for the day at the request of Delegate Carlson, and in the forwarding to the category of commending resolutions on page 39, Delegate Williams, House Resolution 393 is requested to go by for the day by the patron himself.
Delegate from Alexandria, Delegate Herring.
Mr. Speaker, I move that the legislation as announced by the clerk go by for the day.
Delegate from Alexandria, Delegate Herring moves that the legislation as announced by the clerk go by for the day. As many in favor of the motion will say aye. Those opposed, no. The motion is agreed to. The clerk will announce the next.
And the fourth and final portion of the morning hour reserved for member requests for points of personal privilege. Kindly use your request to speak button to get into the queue.
Delegate from James City County, Delegate Anderson.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I rise for a point of personal privilege.
The delegate has the floor.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Today, in honor of Women's History Month, I want to speak about one of the most influential labor activists of the 20th century and a leader of the Chicano civil rights movement, Dolores Clara Fernandez Huerta. Born in 1930, Dolores paved the way for farm workers in every corner of our nation. Her activism was an example that the fight for labor was one that women could not only lead, but win. Dolores came from a family of workers, her father a coal miner and member of the United Mine Workers. But her mother, who was a waitress and canner and member of the United Cannery, Agricultural, Packing, and Allied Workers of America, is who shaped Dolores' future activism and passion. After receiving her associate teacher degree, Dolores got to work at was only one of three bilingual teachers in their area. When she saw many of her students coming to school hungry and in dirty clothes, she sprung into action and said, I quote, "I couldn't tolerate seeing kids come to class hungry and needing shoes. I thought I could do more by organizing farm workers than by trying to teach their hungry children." And so an activist was born. Dolores was a staunch believer in democracy. So in addition to labor, she fought tirelessly for the rights of Latinos throughout the nation. Her list of accomplishments are long. She co-founded the Stockton chapter of the Community Service Organization, leading voter registration drives and fighting for economic improvements for Hispanics. With Cesar Chavez, she established the National Farm Workers Association, the predecessor of today's United Farm Workers Union. Dolores helped organize the 1965 Delano strike of 5,000 grape workers, leading the demand for higher wages, better working conditions, and union recognition. She lobbied for a greater representation of workers in legislative bodies and led the charge to elect Latinos and women to political offices. Mr. Speaker, Dolores Huerta did it all. She has organized workers, negotiated contracts, advocated for safer working conditions, and fought for women, Latinos, and working people her whole life. And today, in this very body, where we have the largest representation of both women and Latinos in Virginia's history, we are continuing the fight Dolores Huerta has been championing her whole life, many of which have been brought to the General Assembly by women who share her vision and passion for working people and our children. And yes, that includes passing legislation to finally include farm workers in the minimum wage. Shout out to Delegate McClure and Senator Carol Foy across the hall. So, Mr. Speaker, in the words of Dolores Huerta, si se pueda. Because as women, the answer is always, yes, you can.
The delegate from Virginia Beach, Delegate Tater.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I rise for a point of personal privilege.
The delegate has the floor.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, energy prices are skyrocketing and Virginians need relief now. Governor Spanberger spent the campaign promising to make life more affordable for Virginians. Unfortunately for hardworking Virginians, her policies have proven to have the exact opposite effect. I continue to hear from my constituents who experience sticker shock month after month when they open their energy bills, like the 82-year-old woman who just called the other day in desperation after seeing her bill has doubled. For others, their bills have tripled from this time last year. It is now common to see monthly energy bills approaching $400 or more. But what are Virginians actually paying for? On a $400 Dominion bill, ratepayers are charged $9.54 for clean energy projects, $19.95 for the renewable energy portfolio for clean energy projects, and $29.20 for the offshore wind farm. An astounding 15% of their bill is a direct result of the Virginia Clean Economy Act mandates. Mr. Speaker, this is not affordable. In her first address to the Joint Assembly, Governor Spanberger urged this body to rejoin Regional Greenhouse Gas Initiative, or RGGI. Her party delivered, and in doing so slapped an additional $500 million a year carbon tax on all Virginians. This isn't just a line item in the budget, yet this is another fee on energy bills and another direct hit to every Virginian's wallet. Mr. Speaker, the flaws of this green mandate approach to energy were on full display during the winter storm earlier this session. When the lights needed to stay on and the heat needed to run, 93% of our grid was powered by fossil fuels and nuclear energy, and nearly 40% of that energy was purchased from other states. Solar and wind were helpful for short periods of time during the storm, but simply could not keep Virginia powered alone during this crisis. Mr. Speaker, Virginia's flawed energy policy is making the Commonwealth energy dependent on other states while making our citizens energy poor. If you want to keep the lights on and costs down for Virginia families, we must utilize an all-of-the-above approach to energy, including clean coal, oil, natural gas, renewables, and nuclear power. Governor Spanberger promised affordability. Virginia families need a governor who will keep her word. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
The delegate from Albemarle, Delegate Carlson.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I rise for the point of a personal privilege.
The delegate has the floor.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, in another life, a long, long time ago, I used to be a math teacher. I always loved math. Something about the beauty of it, it's logical, it's balanced, and it's true. The numbers add up. Except I've come to realize that the numbers don't always add up. In particular, they don't add up when it comes to uplifting women, particularly women of color, but all women in technical and math-related fields. I know this personally. This speech isn't about me, but it's worth noting that it is not an abstract concept or a stat. I used to be good at math. It's getting a little dicey now, and I was playing Yahtzee like 2 days ago, and I was pulling out my calculator to calculate my chance. But I used to be good. I won competitions, I got state recognition, and eventually I ended up at a great college where I sat in a beautiful but cold office one fall day with my college advisor. He asked me what I was interested in, and I told him physics. He paused, and then the questions began. Had I published any research? Had I participated in any of the high school programs offered by the Ivy League? Had I done any internships? Foreign concept, I was working at McDonald's. And was I aware of how much science and math would be involved in that major? And finally, he stated his conclusion as a fact. Miss Preston, you are already behind your peers. That's a hard major, and I suggest that you switch. I wish I could say, I was 17. It was my first semester. I wish I could say that I walked out of there with the resolve that I was going to prove him wrong, but I didn't. I listened to him. I switched to political science, and you see where it got me. I don't often tell people that story. It is not one of my finer moments. But we're friends, so it's good, small room. The good news is that although it didn't happen that day, what happened did fuel me eventually. It led me to teach math. It led me to write a bill last year to make sure that all of our brilliant students will be elevated into advanced math when they are capable, because I know and research shows that women are routinely overlooked and persistently pushed out of STEM fields, even when they are more than capable. And I know they deserve more. Women, girls, our daughters, deserve to be told what they can do, not what they can't. And we should shout it from the rooftops to drown out the voices that say otherwise. And that's why I'm making this speech today. Mr. Speaker, this body passed a resolution this week honoring the author of Hidden Figures, Margot Lee Shetterly. It's a novel about women of color who were isolated, devalued, but still persisted as math and technical powerhouses. They fueled our nation's space race by serving as human computers, breaking barriers every step of the way. A passage in the book notes that the women at Langley had to work twice as hard to get half as far. That's an equation that doesn't add up, but it's one that I recognize. And it's actually a statement I've heard this session. It's the women in Hidden Figures, though, because they're so good at math, they worked out a solution. If they and their work were going to be devalued, they could overcome it by combining their efforts. And that's what they did. They worked together to uplift each other, elevating their work through collective sisterhood and delivering the results and the math that I do love. Beautiful, balanced, and true. Women can be, always have been, and are good at math. They created a path for so many of us to follow, a path recognizing the greatness and potential of women in STEM fields, and a path that I am grateful that Ms. Shetterly, who's a Virginia native and current Charlottesville resident, shared with the world through her beautifully written and researched novel. It's also a path I know that some of my colleagues have followed as well, Delegate Anthony, Delegate Carroll. I am done, but I do want to note I have copies of her book, and I know our pages who are sitting here listening would love to be put to work. If you would like a copy, Ms. Shetterly is here today, please request one, and I will send one over your way. And with that, I yield, or I request that we go to Ms. Anthony. Thank you.
The delegate from Norfolk, Delegate Anthony.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I rise to request to return to the first morning hour for the purpose of an introduction.
The delegate has the floor.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I rise along with the delegate from Albemarle to recognize a Virginian who is in the House floor, in the rear of the House floor with us today, who helped illuminate a chapter of American history that should have never been hidden. Author Margot Lee Shetterly, and I'll ask her to stand, brought national attention to the extraordinary black women mathematicians of NASA through her book, Hidden Figures. Through careful research and powerful storytelling, she lifted up the brilliance and persistence of women like Katherine Johnson, Dorothy Vaughan, Mary Jackson, and others, including Dr. Christine Darden, whose mathematical genius helped propel our nation into space. But, Mr. Speaker, the power of Margot Shetterly's work is not only in their storytelling, but it is in what happens when the next generation hears it. 9 years ago, when the film adaptation of Hidden Figures was released, I was working in engineering education. And as someone who has earned degrees in engineering and later served as an engineering academic advisor, I understood how important it is for students to see themselves reflected in fields like science and mathematics. So we organized a private screening for students from all 5 of the Norfolk high schools, including its middle school STEM academy, and more than 200 students and their teachers attended. But we wanted the experience to go deeper than the movie. So across campus of Old Dominion University, the entire colleges, departments, faculty, and students purchased over 200 copies of Margot Shetterly's book. Each book included a handwritten message by students and faculty that encouraged every student who received a copy and some of their teachers. It left a reminder that someone believed in their future. And that effort later helped lead to a summer program supported by the Virginia Space Grant Consortium called Hidden No More, serving young women interested in exploring careers in science and engineering. So, Mr. Speaker, when I had the opportunity to hear Margot Shetterly speak at one of her author lectures, she shared lessons drawn from the women whose stories she preserved. She said, "Put curiosity over fear. Find something worth fighting for and fight for it. Remember that you are no better than anyone else, and no one is better than you. And take the long view. Ask yourself what the next 5, 10, 20, or 50 years might look like, and what legacy you will leave behind." And those words stayed with me, Mr. Speaker. So, Mr. Speaker, thanks to Margot Shetterly, their stories are no longer hidden. And because young people continue to be inspired by them, the next generation of mathematicians, scientists, and engineers will not be hidden either. So, Mr. Speaker and members of the House, I ask you to join me and Delegate Carlson in recognizing the author of Hidden Figures, Margot Lee Shetterly, and give her a warm House welcome.
Welcome to the Capitol, and thank you for reading such an inspiring book. The clerk will call the calendar.
Calendar for today, Thursday, March 12th, 2026. For the Virginia House Delegates, 52 bills, 140-plus resolutions to work through on this deadline day. First category, Senate bills.
House will be at ease. House will come to order. Mr. Clerk.
Mr. Speaker, members of the House, picking back up with today's calendar, beginning today's calendar, page 2, first category, live category, Senate bills on third reading, final passage, uncontested, 4 bills in the uncontested block, beginning with top of page 2, Senate Bill 257, legislation to amend and reenact sections of the Code of Virginia relating to health insurance coverage for certain opioid antagonists. Legislation was reported to Committee on Labor and Commerce with a substitute, subsequently reported to the Committee on Appropriations with a different amendment nature substitute.
Delegate from Loudoun County, Delegate Reeser.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I move the adoption of the Labor and Commerce Committee substitute, and I request that the members vote no.
Shall the committee substitute be agreed to? All those in favor say aye. All those opposed, no.
No. Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I move the Appropriations Committee substitute.
All those in favor, that substitute was rejected. All those in favor of the appropriation substitute, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, no. The motion is agreed to. The delegate from Loudoun County, Delegate Reeser.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. This is a bill that is a cognate to my HB 795, which passed the House uncontested. The substitute removes coverage for over-the-counter opioid antagonists to avoid increased derailment costs to the state, but still maintains the prescription of opioid antagonists and the pre-approval and step therapy requirements are removed. So I move that we pass the bill.
Next up in the uncontested block, Senate Bill 285, requiring the Department of Housing and Community Development to review and develop appropriate criteria and guidelines for administration of the Urban Public-Private Partnership Redevelopment Grant Program. Legislation reported to the Committee on Rules, subsequently by the Committee on Appropriations.
The delegate from Fairfax, Delegate Creasy.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Senate Bill 285 directs the Department of Housing and Community Development to review and develop criteria and guidelines for the administration of the Urban Public-Private Partnership Redevelopment Grant Program. Mr. Speaker, I move that the bill pass.
Next up in the block, Senate Bill 592 seeks to amend the Code of Virginia relating to the Board of Education, career and technical education courses, pathways, and credentials biennial review report. Legislation report Committee on Appropriations.
Delegate from Lynchburg, Delegate Walker.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. SB 592 from Senator Bagby is identical to my House Bill 1158. This bill requires the Board of Education and the Virginia Board of Workforce Development, along with several other partner agencies, to conduct a review every 2 years of all CTE courses, pathways, and credentials offered to public schools students in Virginia. The review will ensure that these programs align with our current workforce needs and prepare students for success in high school. I hope it's the will of the body to pass this on.
And, Mr. Speaker, members of the House, since Senate Bills 835 and 836 are out of the block, the last bill in this block, top of page 4, is Senate Bill 753, legislation to amend and reenact sections of the Code of Virginia relating to unauthorized use of voice or likeness, punitive damages, statute of limitations, legislation Committee of Courts of Justice, then subsequently by the Committee on Communications Technology and Innovation.
Delegate from Chesapeake, Douglas Hayes.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, Senate Bill 753 expands the existing ability for any person to maintain or a suit in equity for the unauthorized use of name, portrait, or picture for the advertising purposes or for the purposes of trade to include the unauthorized use of voice or likeness. I move that we pass the bill.
Shall the bills pass? Clerk will close the roll.
Ayes 96, no 0.
Ayes 96, no 0. The bills pass.
New category, Senate bills on third reading, regular. 6 bills in this category. Senate Bill 602 is by for the day. Therefore, the first bill in this new category is Senate Bill 59, legislation to amend and reenact sections of the Code of Virginia relating to photo speed monitoring devices, photo monitoring systems for traffic signals, proof of violation, certain retired law enforcement officials, registered conservators of the peace, and technicians training. Legislation reported Committee on Transportation with a substitute which has already been agreed to, and Delegate Simon has a floor amendment drawn to that already passed for substitute. Committee substitute.
The delegate from Fairfax, Delegate Delaney. Delegate Simons.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I think this bill was explained yesterday and debated and voted on. What's different now that we've brought it back today is that we've added a floor amendment that puts a reenactment clause on this bill, and this will make sure that we have an opportunity to get this to the conference, work out some of the concerns that we heard from some of the folks on the floor yesterday. So that's all the floor amendment is a reenactment clause. I move passage of the floor amendment.
Shall the floor amendment be agreed to? All those in favor? favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, no. The floor members agree. The delegate from Buckingham, Doug Garrett.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Speaking to the bill and floor amendment.
Doug has the floor.
Mr. Speaker, I rise not to remind you of my comments yesterday, but to remind you of my distinguished colleague from Roanoke's comments yesterday. This thing is still walking like a duck. It's still quacking like a duck, and it's still a duck. There are other bills up, Mr. Speaker, today on photo red cameras. They're bad now. They'll be bad when we vote on them then. They were bad yesterday. They're bad today. And don't let a reenactment clause stop you from doing the right thing. I implore my colleagues, Mr. Speaker, to vote no on this and other photo ticketing bills. Thank you.
The delegate from Roanoke City, Delegate Rasul.
Mr. Speaker, speaking to the bill.
The delegate has the floor.
Mr. Speaker, tyranny's tough, Mr. Speaker. But I agree, Mr. Speaker, that while I'm not excited about the underlying policy, I think the reenactment clause does put both bills in a posture where we can see what a final bill will look like, because I think that they're going to be discussing some definitions, Mr. Speaker. So look forward to seeing what that final language will look like. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Shall the bill pass? Clerk will close the roll.
Ayes 60, noes 38.
Ayes 60, noes 38. The bill passes.
Next up, Senate Bill 84, legislation to amend and reenact 3 sections of the Code of Virginia relating to speed safety cameras, placement and operation, violation, enforcement, civil penalties. Report. Legislation report committee on transportation with amendment nature substitute, which was agreed to yesterday. And Delegate Siebold has a floor amendment to the already adopted substitute that is available to the public and to the members here. So we're in good shape.
I think she's withdrawing the floor amendment. Is that correct?
Mm-hmm.
You're withdrawing it? No, she has a floor amendment.
I'm withdrawing the floor amendment, Mr. Speaker.
Withdrawing it?
Mm-hmm.
Sorry.
My apologies, Mr. Clerk.
And the bill, no floor amendments before you, so it's just the already adopted committee substitute. The bill's before you, Senate Bill 84.
The delegate from Fairfax, Delegate Siebold.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I move as a substitute.
We've already done that.
Oh, okay. I'm sorry. Sorry, Mr. Speaker. All right. So, Mr. Speaker, SB 84 is a cognate of my HB 1330, which adopts guardrail language, good governance practices, and allows for the use of stop sign and pedestrian cross monitoring devices in our communities because people shouldn't die walking to school. And to respond to the delegate from Bedford, who seems to have lots of issues with speed cameras only issue tickets if you're speeding. And so I would suggest that if someone in this chamber has an issue with these cameras, they should slow down because thousands of people are dying every year crossing the street in our community. And that is very important to our residents in Virginia. So with that, Mr. Speaker, I move the passage of the bill.
Shall the bill pass? Clerk will close the roll.
Ayes 63, noes 35.
Ayes 63, noes 35. The bill passes.
Over on page 7, Senate Bill 141 now before you seeks to amend and reenact sections of the Code of Virginia relating to elections, political campaign advertisements, synthetic media penalty. Legislation report committee on report on committee on communications technology innovation with amendment nature substitute.
That from Chesapeake, Doug Hayes.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, Senate Bill 141 allows a candidate for office to seek injunctive relief when allegedly defamatory media about them is broadcast or disseminated within 30 days of an election. In addition, the defamation, the court will consider the public's interest in having a properly informed electorate. I move that we pass the bill.
Move the committee substitute.
I move the substitute.
Shall the committee substitute be agreed to? All those in favor say aye. All those opposed, no. Committee substitute is agreed to. Delegate from Buckingham, Doug Garrett.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. It's like Jaws, just when you thought it was safe to go back in the water. Senate Bill 141 came to my attention when I arrived unexpectedly on the CTI committee, Mr. Speaker, and I was excited about the bill because I had a bill, House Bill 982, that aimed to stop campaigns. We've narrowly defined the people who are acting from publishing false and defamatory material in their election process. And I was super excited when I learned that my colleague from Richmond, Delegate Cousins, had House Bill 868, and her goal was to do the exact same thing. And she treated me so exceptionally well, Mr. Speaker. I'm grateful to her. What's before you today is the Senate version of that, but not in the form that Delegate Cousins and I carried. This is so bad that it compares to some of the worst stuff I've ever seen, not just this year. Mr. Speaker, when you believe in your argument, you debate. When you don't, you censor. The amendment that was literally not debated in any chamber, the Senate or the House, in subcommittee or committee, because it's brand spanking new, is all of a whopping 11 lines. I invite you to read it. Here are some lowlights. It would condemn defamatory electioneering. Here's a problem. There's no definition in the code for electioneering. It says that a court, any circuit court in the Commonwealth, presumably because there's no specificity, could enter injunctive relief, which is the court equivalent of saying, shut up, you can't say or do that. It says that the material that will be stopped from being spread is allegedly defamatory media within 30 days. We call that political speech for those of you watching at home. And so it invites, in the case of a statewide campaign, Mr. Speaker, invites court shopping. Pretend a governor candidate's running and someone's saying something along the lines of, say, Swift Boat Veterans for Truth, which, by the way, was never refuted as untrue. Their campaign is taking hits and they're losing momentum because Virginia voters are being told the truth. And so the candidate can seek injunctive relief, and it doesn't say who the defendant is, which means the defendant's anyone. The defendant could be Delegate from Bedford sitting in his mom's basement making a meme. But we don't like the meme because too many people are viewing the meme, and it might cause us to lose an election. So we say, what circuit court in Virginia would be most likely to provide me with injunctive relief to make that guy shut up? We go to that judge and wait for it. It gets worse. Such a motion shall be given priority over all pending matters before the court. Let's just say there's a rape trial, a murder trial, a trial on armed robbery or distribution of fentanyl. Stop. We got to let the political candidate's case be heard so that we can take the allegedly defamatory remarks made by someone who made a meme in their mom's basement off the airwaves so that a political candidate doesn't potentially lose an election. Mr. Speaker, here's where we are. It's Orwellian. Orwell famously said that slavery is freedom and freedom is slavery. When you redefine words, we have seen this session the defense of life by attacking the natural law right of self-defense. We are now watching people try to defend democracy by attacking our natural law right to express ourselves, to speak freely. We have seen this session attacks on the First Amendment Establishment Clause. Some people seem to like the part where we don't get to establish religion, but miss the part where we don't prohibit the free practice thereof. We've seen attacks on Fourth Amendment search and seizure. We've seen the Second Amendment gutted, the Fifth and 14th due process gone, the Sixth Amendment Confrontation Clause gone. That's what I don't like about photo cameras. You're not innocent until proven guilty. You're guilty until proven innocent. So here, the remedy to a bad actor who's not defined, anybody who says something you don't like is what the definition is to shut them up using the courts. And why? To defend democracy? I can't make this stuff up as I have my worst nightmares. But we will not preserve freedom by attacking freedom. And that's what this bill does now. And we will not preserve the public's confidence in our institutions when a candidate for political office can shop for the most favorable court in the Commonwealth to tell their political opposition to shut up 30 days before an election. I have stood and given some impassioned pleas this year. This might be the most impassioned one. If, when you have power, you use that power to silence minorities and silence dissent, it does not end well. It does not end well. And this bill, while well-intentioned, like I said, I had the House version of this bill and worked in good faith with someone who treated me exceptionally well. It didn't do this. It didn't say the defendant's anyone. It said the defendant is a political campaign lying about another political campaign. That makes sense. That's a time, place, manner restriction on speech. This, my friends, is censorship crafted by people who can't win a fair and honest debate, and I urge my colleagues to vote no.
Shall the bill pass? Clerk will close the roll.
Ayes 62, noes 34.
Ayes 62, noes 34. The bill passes.
Returning to page 4, picking up Senate Bill 835, which is legislation to amend the Code of Virginia relating to solid rocket motor manufacturing grant fund. Legislation was reported to Committee on Appropriations.
Delegate from Prince William, Delegate Torrey.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, Senate Bill 835 is identical to my House Bill 1531, which passed out of this House. This bill codifies the MEI Commission approved economic development project for Avio to produce solid rocket motor components in Pennsylvania County. The company will create 1,546 jobs and invest $538 million in Pennsylvania County. Mr. Speaker, I move passage of the bill.
Shall the bill pass? Clerk will close the roll.
Ayes 94, noes 2.
Ayes 94, noes 2. The bill passes.
And another bill, Senate Bill 836. Senate Bill 836 seeks to amend the Code of Virginia relating to Transformer Manufacturing Expansion Grant Fund. Again, this legislation report Committee on Appropriations.
Delegate for Prince William, Delegate Torrey.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, Senate Bill 836 is identical to my House Bill 1530, which passed out of this House. This bill codifies the MEI Commission-approved economic development project for JOLT to build large power transformers in Henry County. The company will create 1,185 jobs and invest $301 million in Henry County. Mr. Speaker, I move passage of the bill.
Shall the bill pass? Clerk will close the roll.
Ayes 94, noes 2.
Ayes 94, noes 2. The bill passes.
Continuing with today's calendar, we come to a new category, House bills with Senate amendments. House bills with Senate amendments, 42 in this category. Beginning bottom of page 7, Delegate Hayes's. First up is House Bill 684. House Bill 684 relates to photo speed monitoring devices, photo monitoring systems for traffic signals, proof of violation, registered conservators of the peace, and technicians employed by locality training. Legislation passed the House, passed the Senate with a substitute and with an amendment to that substitute, which are before you now.
Then from Chesapeake, Delegate Hayes.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Clerk has described the bill very, very accurately. The Senate substitute just adds video monitoring to the bill, and I move that the Senate amendment, and I ask that the members vote no.
Shall the Senate amendment be adopted? Clerk will close the roll.
Ayes 0, noes 97.
Ayes 0, noes 97. The Senate amendment is rejected.
Over on page 8, we come to House Bill 69, which relates to retail franchise agreements, governing law, competition restrictions. Legislation passed the House, passed Senate with the substitute, which is before you.
Delegate from Fairfax, Delegate Hellman.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, House Bill 69, as with the Senate substitute, was now in the same form as Senate Bill 250, which we passed out of this House on a vote of 97-0 on March 6th. It makes minor amendments to the non-competes in retail franchises. I move that we accept the Senate substitute.
Shall the Senate substitute be adopted? Clerk will close the roll.
Ayes 95, noes 2.
Ayes 95, noes 2. The Senate substitute is adopted.
House Bill 128 now before you relates to certification of ancillary traffic infractions. Legislation passed the House, passed Senate with substitute, which is before you.
Delegate from Albemarle, Delegate Carlson.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. House Bill 128 allows traffic infractions to be certified up to circuit court along with their related offenses by agreement. It passed unanimously. The substitute found another code section in 16.1 that needed to be adjusted in order for that to happen. I move that we adopt the Senate substitute.
Shall the Senate substitute be adopted? Clerk will close the roll.
Ayes 97, noes 1.
Ayes 97, noes 1. The substitute is adopted.
House Bill 153 relates to siting of data centers, site assessment, high energy use facility. Legislation originally passed the House, passed Senate with substitute, and that substitute is before you now.
Delegate from Prince William, Delegate Thomas.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, House Bill 153, the Senate added a substitute that includes some industrial zoning language. We're almost there to get to yes, so I move the Senate substitute and need everyone to reject it by voting no so we can go to conference.
Shall the Senate substitute be adopted? Clerk will close the roll.
Ayes 0, noes 98.
Ayes 0, noes 98. The Senate substitute is rejected.
House Bill 172 is legislation relating to criminal cases, request for a jury to ascertain punishment. Legislation passed the House, passed Senate with amendments. The Senate amendments are before you.
Delegate from Chesterfield, Delegate Mader.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. This bill allows for the examination of jurors regarding guilt and sentencing. The amendment includes a minor technical change to remove allowing juries to be cross-examined during juvenile cases because it doesn't happen in those cases. I move that the House adopt the Senate amendment and request members to vote yes.
Shall the Senate amendment be adopted? Clerk will close the roll.
Ayes 63, noes 34.
Ayes 63, noes 34. The Senate amendment is adopted.
Over on page 9, we come to House Bill 185. This legislation relates to orders closing a proceeding or sealing a record, petitions for review. Legislation passed the House, passed Senate with amendments. The Senate amendments are before you.
Delegate from Chesterfield, Delegate Mader.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. This bill allows for a quick appellate process for sealed proceedings. The amendment includes a minor technical change to strike reference to sealed records. I move that the House adopt this Senate amendment and request the members vote yes.
Shall the Senate amendment be adopted? Clerk will close the roll.
Ayes 97, noes 0.
Ayes 97, noes 0. The Senate amendment is adopted.
Over on page 10, House Bill 193 relates to parole, exception to limitation on the application of parole statutes. Legislation passed the House, passed Senate with amendments, and those Senate amendments before you.
Delegate from Henrico, Delegate McQuinn.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, HB 193, the Fishback Parole Bill, is the Senate amendments do not change the substance of the bill. They clarify the implementation by directing the parole board to establish procedures for reviewing eligible cases and add a timeline requiring that anyone eligible for parole as of July 1, 2026 be scheduled for a parole interview no later than July 1, 2027 unless there's reasonable cause for a delay. Mr. Speaker, I move that we accept the Senate amendment and vote yes.
Shall the Senate amendment be adopted? Clerk, close the roll.
Ayes 63, noes 35.
Ayes 63, noes 35. The Senate amendment is adopted.
House Bill 273 relates to law enforcement officers' duty to render aid upon danger to life or limb, civil immunity. Legislation passed the House, passed Senate with substitute. That Senate substitutes before you.
Delegate from Fairfax, Delegate Helmer.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, with the Senate substitute on House Bill 273, this is essentially identical to the bill that we passed out of the House that says that law enforcement officers are required to render aid when someone's in danger of loss of limb or life. The change is that the Senate moved it into a separate section of the code that is about officer conduct. I think it's a good change. There was indifference as to which section of the code it moves in, and so I hope we will accept the Senate substitute.
Shall the Senate substitute be adopted? Clerk will close the roll.
Ayes 62, noes 35.
Ayes 62, noes 35. The Senate substitute is adopted.
House Bill 281 before you now relates to the Virginia Residential Landlord and Tenant Act. Noncompliance is defense to action for possession for non-payment of rent. Legislation passed the House, passed Senate with amendment, which is before you.
The delegate from Albemarle, Delegate Carlson.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. House Bill 281, as a reminder, allows tenants to assert the defense of warranty of habitability without having to pay all past due rent, although they still need to pay rent during the pendency of the case. The Senate amendment adds an effective date of January 1st, 2027. I move that we adopt that Senate amendment.
Shall the Senate amendment be adopted? Clerk will close the roll.
Ayes 63, noes 35.
Ayes 63, noes 35. The Senate amendment is adopted.
House Bill 286 relates to the Virginia National Guard. Power of governor to summon in certain circumstances mobilization under federal authority. Annual report. Legislation passed the House, passed Senate with substitute, and that Senate substitute is before you.
Delegate from Fairfax, Delegate Helmer.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, House Bill 286 left here a good bill. There was then a ceasefire in the Valley, but not before a Senate substitute got laid on top of it that turned it into a study. So I'm going to move the Senate substitute and ask that we vote no. And it's really important that people vote no.
Shall the Senate substitute be adopted? The clerk will close the roll.
Ayes 0, noes 98.
Ayes 0, noes 98. The Senate substitute is rejected.
Over on page 12, we come to House Bill 3. I'm sorry, page 11. We come to House Bill 316, relating to the Virginia Stock Corporation Act. This is legislation that passed the House, passed Senate with amendments, and those Senate amendments are before you.
The delegate from Arlington, Delegate Hope.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. House Bill 316 modernizes Virginia's corporate laws by aligning with the Model Business Corporation Act. The Senate amendments are technical amendments from the Virginia Bar Association to clarify some language. Mr. Speaker, I move that we adopt the Senate amendments.
Shall the Senate amendment be adopted? Clerk will close the roll.
Ayes 97, no 0.
Ayes 97, no 0. The Senate amendment is adopted.
Now we come to page 12 and House Bill 328, which relates to the Bureau of Insurance Essential Health Benefits Benchmark Plan Selection. Legislation passed the House, then passed the Senate with substitute, which is before you.
Delegate from Fairfax, Delegate Sullivan.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. This bill is a recommendation of HERC and is the culmination of HERC's work to update Virginia's Essential Health Benefit Plan. This bill passed the House 72 to 25, so members might want to check their votes. The Senate substitute simply clarifies some wording relating to hearing aids and adds language recommended by the Bureau of Insurance to try to anticipate recent developments at CMS. I move the Senate substitute and ask that the body adopt the substitute.
Shall the Senate substitute be adopted?
The board froze.
House will be at ease. House will come to order. Shall the bill pass? Shall the Senate substitute be adopted? Clerk will close the roll.
Ayes 68, noes 30.
Ayes 68, noes 30. The Senate substitute is adopted.
House Bill 416 relates to the use of school buses for public purposes by local governing bodies. Insurance reimbursement. Legislation passed the House, passed Senate with amendment, and that Senate amendment's before you.
Senate for Prince, the delegate for Prince William, Delegate Guzman.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. House Bill 416 permits any local government body that uses school buses to reimburse the school board for any insurance costs. The Senate suggested a friendly amendment, which is to strike the word in full, and I would ask members of this body to vote yes on the Senate amendment.
Shall the Senate amendment be adopted? Clerk will close the roll.
Ayes 65, noes 33.
Ayes 65, noes 33. The Senate amendment is adopted.
Top of page 13, we come to House Bill 438, relating to delinquency petition, referral to court service unit. Legislation passed the House, passed the Senate with amendments, which are now before you.
A delegate from Henrico County, Delegate LaVere Bowling.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. HB 438 is a bill that expands access to diversion in Virginia's juvenile justice system by allowing a court with the agreement of the Commonwealth's attorney to refer to a delinquency case back to the CSU for informal handling before an adjudication hearing begins. With the amendment, 438 is now identical to SB 70, which this body passed recently. The Senate substitute is simple in providing two amendments on line 209, clarifying upon request of the child with consent of the attorney for the Commonwealth. And with that, Mr. Speaker, I move the Senate committee substitute and ask that we accept the motion.
Shall the Senate amendment be adopted? Clerk will close the roll.
Ayes 64, noes 34.
Ayes 64, noes 34. The Senate amendment is adopted.
Over on page 14, we come in House Bills with Senate Amendments category to House Bill 439, which relates to the Virginia Non-Stock Corporation Act. Legislation passed the House, passed Senate with amendments, and they are now before you.
Delegate from Arlington, Delegate Hope.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. This bill is the cognate to the bill that we passed out yesterday. This just makes technical changes to align with the latest standards of our corporate governance. The amendments that's before you are technical, and so I'd move that we adopt the Senate amendments.
Shall the Senate amendment be adopted? Clerk will close the roll.
Ayes 98, no 0.
Ayes 98, no 0. The Senate amendment is adopted.
Over on page 16, we come to House Bill 450, which relates to the Office of Vital Records, fees for certified copies. Legislation passed the House, passed Senate with substitute, which is before you.
Delegate from Henrico, Delegate Willett.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, HB 450 increases the fees for a certified copy of a vital record as charged by the Office of Vital Records. The Senate substitute adjusts that fee from my introduced $17 to $15 as reporting requirements. I'm agreeable to those changes. I move that the House adopt the Senate substitute and vote yes on the motion.
Shall the Senate substitute be adopted? Clerk will close the roll.
Ayes 63, noes 34.
Ayes 63, noes 34. The Senate substitute is adopted.
Next up is House Bill 483, which relates to Prescription Drug Affordability Board established drug cost affordability review. Legislation passed the House, passed Senate with a substitute, which is before you.
Delegate from Fairfax, Delegate Delaney.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. So this bill is now identical to the Prescription Drug Affordability Board, which is now the Affordable Medicine Act that we passed out of this body a couple of days ago. So it is in the identical posture as the vote we already took, and I ask that we adopt the Senate move the Senate substitute, ask that we adopt it and pass this bill.
I'd be nervous too. I was making history. Shall the Senate substitute be adopted? Clerk will close the roll.
Ayes 87, noes 11.
Ayes 87, noes 11. Senate substitute is adopted.
Next up, we come to House Bill 489, which relates to restorative justice practices. Legislation passed the House, passed the Senate with a substitute with amendment, and the Senate substitute with amendment is before you now.
Delegate from Arlington, Delegate Hope.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. This bill has to do, as the clerk noted, a restorative justice practice to codify it into law. The Senate changed it pretty drastically, and so I would ask the body to reject the Senate amendment substitute so we can go into conference.
Shall the Senate amendments be adopted? Clerk will close the roll.
Ayes 1, noes 95.
Ayes 1, noes 95. The Senate substitute is rejected.
House Bill 577 now before you relates to social work, licensure, criminal background check. Legislation passed the House, passed Senate with substitute. That Senate substitute is before you.
The delegate from Norfolk, Delegate Glass.
Gratitude, Mr. Speaker. So House Bill 577 passed this chamber uncontested. By the time it got over to the Senate, what we realized was a couple things. The work that we tried to do with the Virginia State Police and getting them in compliance with the FBI on being able to share full background history, there were some hiccups there, as well as the fact that some of the records were still not able to be disseminated in order for folks to get into the social work compact. What the substitute does was create a work group to look at across the board non-criminal licensures with a work group with indigent defense as well as other folks, as well as puts a delayed enactment on that piece so that when the social work compact becomes enacted, we'll still be able to do it while allowing the Virginia State Police to get in compliance with the FBI requirements. So it'll give us a green light on the compact. So, Mr. Speaker, I move that the House do exactly that, like we're doing for the compact, give it the green light and agree to the Senate substitute.
Shall the Senate substitute be adopted? Clerk will close the roll.
Ayes 96, ayes 97, noes 1.
Ayes 97, noes 1. The Senate substitute is adopted.
House Bill 593 relates to summons for unlawful detainer, additional information, legal resources, plain language, overview of process. Legislation passed the House, passed Senate with amendments. Senate amendments are before you.
Delegate from Newport News, Delegate Simons.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. HB 593 clarifies that impartial information may be attached to the unlawful detainer summons and included by the court so that individuals experiencing eviction better understand the process and available resources. The Senate amendment is technical in nature and simply fixes a grammatical error. I move the Senate amendments and ask the House to vote yes.
Shall the Senate amendment be adopted? Clerk will close the roll.
Ayes 83, noes 15.
Ayes 83, noes 15. The Senate amendment is adopted.
Over on page 18 of the printed calendar, we come in this category to House Bill 606, which relates to medical care facility data reporting, value of charity care. Legislation passed the House, passed Senate with substitutes. Senate substitutes before you.
Delegate from Henrico, Delegate Willett.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, HB 606 does what the clerk says in terms of changing the calculation of the value of charity care. The Senate substitute adds additional reporting requirements. I move the House accept the Senate substitute and that the body vote yes.
Shall the Senate substitute be adopted? Clerk will close the roll.
Ayes 93, noes 5.
Ayes 93, noes 5. The Senate substitute is adopted.
House Bill 670 relates to labor and employment provisions, application of law, protection of employees, definition of employer. Legislation passed the House, passed Senate with substitute, which is before you.
Delegate from Prince William, Delegate Maldonado.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. HB 670, as a reminder, is a bill that's been before us before, passed the General Assembly, was vetoed by the governor last year. The version is substantially in the same form, except the substitute expands the definition of employer to make sure that it includes the Commonwealth, its agencies, institutions, political subdivisions, and other public bodies, so that we capture our school boards and make sure that our teachers are properly compensated when they are asked to teach during their sessions for planning and free periods. Mr. Speaker, I ask that the House agree to the Senate substitute and vote yes.
Shall the Senate substitute be adopted? Clerk will close the roll.
Ayes 63, noes 35.
Ayes 63, noes 35. The Senate amendment is adopted.
House Bill 701, a different legislation. This relates to health insurance, relates to health and health insurance. Notice of adverse determination. Legislation passed the House, passed the Senate with an amendment. That Senate amendment is before you.
Delegate from Prince William, Delegate Maldonado.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, HB 701 passed this body unanimously. This amendment makes a technical clarification for medical professionals to be able to use a unique identifier versus their personal name, although it allows also for the unique identifier to be connected to the name, so if people would like to know the name of the physician, they can find it easily. The bill doesn't change any coverage standards or create new mandates for insurers. It simply ensures patients receive clear and timely information about their rights when coverage is denied as well. Mr. Speaker, I ask that the House agree to the Senate amendments and vote yes.
Shall the Senate amendment be adopted? Clerk will close the roll.
Ayes 98, no 0.
Ayes 98, no 0. The Senate amendment is adopted.
House Bill 795 is legislation relating to health insurance coverage for certain opioid antagonists. Legislation passed the House, passed the Senate with substitute, and that substitute's before you.
Delegate from Loudoun County, Delegate Reeser.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. This bill is the cognate to SB 257, which we heard just a little bit ago. It removes the coverage for over-the-counter opioid antagonists with the substitute and puts it in the same posture as the bill that we passed unanimously. Mr. Speaker, I move the House agree to the Senate substitute, and I ask the members vote yes.
Shall the Senate substitute be adopted? Clerk will close the roll.
Ayes 96, no 0.
Ayes 96, no 0. The Senate substitute is adopted.
House Bill 808 now before you relates to insurance, unfair claim settlement practices, modification of loss estimate. Legislation passed the House and passed the Senate with a substitute.
Delegate from Fairfax, Delegate Helmer.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, when we sent this bill over to the Senate, the intent, as I explained it, was to make sure that you couldn't have an insurance company modify an initial estimate by an adjuster. That's how I explained the bill. As we had discussions with stakeholders, the bill didn't do exactly what we intended when we passed it out of the House. The Senate amendments fixed that. So essentially what the substitute from the Senate does is, one, it establishes a $3,000 floor, so de minimis insurance claims are not covered by it. And now what it does is it ensures that when an adjuster provides an estimate, if the insurance company goes back and says, okay, well, that's not right, your $10,000 claim really ought to be $6,000, it requires them to explain it. It's a good substitute, and I move adoption of the substitute and hope you'll vote yes.
Shall the Senate substitute be adopted? Clerk will close the roll.
Ayes 98, no 0.
Ayes 98, no 0. The Senate substitute is adopted.
House Bill 884 relates to electric utilities, percentage of income payment program eligibility. Legislation passed the House, passed the Senate with substitute, which is before you.
Delegate from Alexandria, Delegate Herring.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. This bill expands the customer access to the PIP program for their energy costs. The amendment expands the cap on the cost of the program. I move adoption of the Senate substitute, and I ask the members to vote yes.
Shall the Senate substitute be adopted? Clerk will close the roll.
Ayes 63, noes 35.
Ayes 63, noes 35. The Senate substitute is adopted.
House Bill 994 relates to photo speed monitoring devices, placement and operation. Legislation passed the House, passed the Senate with substitute, and that substitute is before you.
Delegate from Fairfax, Delegate Sebo.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, HB 994, in its original form when it left the House, reformed speed cameras from their current locations of schools and construction zones to data-driven red zones, which are designated by VDOT. This bill applies to those neighborhoods and secondary roads which are under 45 miles per hour, which drivers should not be speeding in because our children's lives are at stake. The Senate, however, completely gutted the bill and changed it to stop sign cameras and red light cameras. So with that, Mr. Speaker, I move the Senate substitute and ask the body to vote no to bring it back to its original posture.
Shall the Senate substitute be adopted?
Okay.
Clerk will close the roll.
Ayes 1, noes 97.
Ayes 1, noes 97. The Senate substitute is rejected.
Over on page 20, Over on page 20, we come to Delegate Tran's House Bill 1011, which relates to compost and other products containing organic soil amendments infrastructure. Department of Environmental Quality tax policy options for reforming the litter tax study expanded. Civil penalty. Legislation passed the House, passed Senate with substitute, which is before you.
Delegate from Fairfax, Delegate Tran.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. This bill allows local governments to implement their own composting policies or similar waste reduction strategies. The Senate substitute conforms this bill to Senate Bill 226. We have to work out a couple of differences. I'd like to move the Senate substitute and ask the House to reject it.
Shall the Senate substitute be adopted? Clerk, close the roll.
Ayes 3, noes 95.
Ayes 3, noes 95. The Senate substitute is rejected.
House Bill 1015, different legislation. This relates to possession or transportation of firearms, ammunition, stun weapons, or explosives, or carrying of concealed weapons by person convicted of a misdemeanor hate crime prohibited. Penalty. Legislation passed the House, passed Senate with substitute. That Senate substitute is before you.
Delegate from Fairfax, Delegate Tran.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. This bill prohibits people convicted of misdemeanor hate crime assault from possessing a firearm, ammunition, or explosives. The Senate substitute helps us clean up the language of the code. It splits it into two kind of sections so that it's clearer. I move the Senate substitute and ask that the House accept it.
Shall the Senate substitute be adopted? Clerk will close the roll.
Ayes 60, noes 35.
Ayes 60, noes 35. The Senate substitute is adopted.
House Bill 1111 it relates to civil litigation, suspension bonds, and irrevocable letters of credit upon appeal. Legislation passed the House, passed Senate with amendment, which is before you now.
Delegate from Norfolk, Delegate Hernandez.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. This bill makes changes to appeal bond cap in Virginia, which, as a friendly reminder, has not been changed since the year 2000. This is important because we want to make sure that victims can be fully compensated when they win at trial. The bill that we sent over to the Senate established a cap of $100 million. They made an amendment to change it to $50 million, so I would move that we accept that amendment.
Shall the Senate amendment be adopted? The clerk will close the roll.
Ayes 63, noes 35.
Ayes 63, noes 35. The Senate amendment is adopted.
Over on page 21, we come to House Bill 1188, which relates to the Virginia Boys and Men Advisory Commission established report. Legislation has mercy clause on it. Passed the House, passed the Senate with substitute, which is now before you.
Delegate from Prince William, Delegate Thomas.
Mr. Speaker, although we've come to the end of the road, still I can't let go of House Bill 1188. Now, the version that's before you, we voted on yesterday, so they are identical. So there's really nothing else to discuss. So let's not wait till the water runs dry. So I move the Senate substitute, and I say, without nearly the pipes of Boys to Men, I'm down on my knees. I'm begging you, please, to agree to the substitute.
KPA, he coming for you. Shall the Senate substitute be adopted? Clerk will close the roll.
Ayes 91, no 6.
Ayes 91, no 6. Well done, sir.
Yeah. Next up, we come to House Bill 1214, which relates to health insurance cost-sharing payments for insulin and diabetes equipment and supplies limit. Legislation passed the House, passed Senate with amendment. Senate amendments before you.
Delegate from Fairfax, Delegate Delaney.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. So this is my bill that caps the cost of insulin and other diabetic supplies and equipment at $35 in aggregate. The Senate substitute protects against an event where the Federal Center of Medical Services regulation may change to ensure that there would be no fiscal impact on the state in event of such a federal change. So I move the Senate amendment and ask that we adopt it.
Shall the Senate amendment be adopted? Clerk will close the roll.
Ayes 97, no 0.
Ayes 97, no 0. The Senate amendment is adopted.
House Bill 1357 would direct the Virginia Department for Aging and Rehabilitative Services to convene a work group for the purpose of conducting a comprehensive study of the quality of care, resident safety, and operational practices of nursing facilities in the Commonwealth. Report. Legislation passed the House, passed Senate with substitute, and that substitute's before you.
Delegate from Richmond City, Delegate McQuinn.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, this bill would not be possible if it wasn't for my two seatmates on the left-hand side. But anyway, the Senate substitute for HB 1357 clarified that the structure and the responsibility of the work group convened by the Virginia Department for Aging and Rehabilitative Services. The amendment ensured that the group will examine nursing facility quality of care, resident safety, and operational practices, report recommendations back to the General Assembly by November the 1st, 2026. These changes strengthen the study while keeping the bill focused on protecting vulnerable citizens. I ask that we accept the Senate substitute and say yes. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Shall the Senate substitute be adopted? Clerk will close the roll.
Ayes 96, noes 1.
Ayes 96, noes 1. The Senate substitute is adopted.
On page 22, we come to House Bill 1377, which would establish a task force to examine higher education at Virginia Military Institute. Report. Legislation passed the House, passed Senate with substitute, and that Senate substitute is before you.
Delegate from Fairfax, Delegate Helmer.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I think we can disagree on a lot of things on this body, and maybe even the underlying bill, but what we can all agree on is that any task force shouldn't have 4 senators and 4 members of the House. It needs to have 4 members of the House and 2 members of the Senate. So I'm going to move the Senate substitute and vote and ask for a resounding no to protect our prerogatives as a body.
Shall the Senate substitute be adopted?
So that's...
The clerk will close the roll.
Ayes 0, noes 98.
Ayes 0, noes 98. The Senate substitute is rejected.
House Bill 1400, now before you, relates to health insurance coverage for maternal mental health screenings. Legislation passed the House, passed Senate with an amendment. That Senate amendment is now before you.
That from Prince William, Delegate Franklin.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, as mentioned, 1400 provides health insurance coverage for maternal mental health screenings, and the Senate amendment amends the type of services covered, and I ask my colleagues to please support and vote in favor of the Senate amendment.
Shall the Senate amendment be adopted? Clerk will close the roll.
Ayes 70, noes 25.
Ayes 70, noes 25. The Senate amendment is adopted.
House Bill 1401, different bill. This one relates to eminent domain, certificate of take, description of property. Legislation passed the House, passed Senate with a substitute. That Senate substitute's before you.
Delegate from Prince William, Delegate Franklin.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, 1401 basically clarifies what type of documents various entities, including localities, can provide with regards to eminent domain takes. The Senate substitute adds the language in various code sections, providing for consistency, and I ask that my colleagues please support the Senate substitute and please vote yes.
Shall the Senate substitute be adopted? Clerk will close the roll.
Ayes 92, noes 2.
Ayes 92, noes 2. The Senate substitute is adopted.
House Bill 1411 relates to evidence of defendant's mental condition admissible. Legislation passed the House, passed Senate with substitute, which is now before you.
The delegate from Richmond City, Delegate Schmidt.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. As a reminder, HB 1411 clarifies existing law related to criminal procedures for admissibility of mental condition and abrogates a Supreme Court case of Shaw versus Commonwealth, which held that expert testimony was inadmissible because the psychologist did not reach conclusions as to the criminal intent of the defendant. Such conclusions are more appropriately made by judge or jury. The House and Senate bills are not quite in alignment, and we need to go to conference. Therefore, I move the Senate substitute and ask the body to reject the substitute by voting no.
Shall the Senate substitute be adopted? Clerk will close the roll.
Ayes 0, noes 97.
Ayes 0, noes 97. The Senate substitute is rejected.
House Bill 1414 is now before you. It relates to a requirement that certain injuries to children be reported by physicians, nurses, teachers, etc. Penalties for failure to report. Legislation passed the House, passed Senate with the substitute. That Senate substitutes before you.
That from Richmond City, Delegate McQuinn.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, House Bill 1414, the Senate amendment removes the language that explicitly lists hospital CEOs and administrators as mandated reporters. Instead, the bill relies on the existing category of mandated reporters already in Virginia law. The amendment preserved the core intent of the bill by strengthening the penalty for the failing to report suspected child abuse or neglect. I ask that we will adopt the Senate's amendment and pass the bill.
Shall the Senate substitute be adopted? Clerk will close the roll.
Ayes 92, noes 6.
Ayes 92, noes 6. The Senate substitute is adopted.
Next up, we come to House Bill 1426. That is legislation that relates to limitations on enforcement of judgments, docketing of general district court judgments in the circuit court. Legislation passed the House, passed Senate with amendments, and the Senate amendments to HB 1426 are before you.
Delegate from Fairfax, Delegate Simon.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. House Bill 1426 was going to limit the statute of limitations on general district court judgments to 10 years, even if you docketed them in the circuit court. In the Senate, they wanted to narrow that application to just general district court judgments that were purchased by debt buyers. So that's what the Senate amendments do. They narrow the focus to just debt buyers. I think it's good enough for this year, Mr. Speaker, and so I hope that the body will approve the Senate amendments and move the Senate amendments and ask that the members vote yes.
Shall the Senate amendment be adopted? The clerk will close the roll.
Ayes 67, noes 30.
Ayes 67, noes 30. The Senate amendment is adopted.
Over on page 24, nearing the end of the category, House Bills with Senate amendments, we come to House Bill 1464, which relates to victims of crime, reimbursement for expenses, coordinator of the Virginia Sexual Assault Forensic Examiner Coordination Program Work Group. Legislation passed the House, passed Senate with substitute, and that Senate substitute is before you.
Delegate from Fairfax, Delegate Shin.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, we voted on House Bill 1464 on February 17th and passed it out on a vote of 97-0. The Senate substitute that came back removes the requirement that the Virginia Sexual Assault Forensic Examiner Coordinator be a registered nurse. For that reason, Mr. Speaker, I move that the House agree to the Senate substitute, but request that the House reject this motion so that we can get it into conference.
Shall the Senate substitute be adopted? Clerk will close the roll.
Ayes 2, noes 96.
Ayes 2, noes 96. The Senate substitute is rejected.
Next up is House Bill 1479, which relates to punitive damages, hit-and-run drivers. Legislation passed the House, passed Senate with amendment, and that Senate amendment is before you.
Delegate from Franklin County, Delegate Davis.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I move the Senate amendment, and I move that the House agree to the Senate amendment, and I'd like to speak to that motion.
The delegate has the floor.
HB 1479 allows for punitive damages in felony, hit-and-run cases for personal injuries, wrongful death, and property damage. The Senate amendment takes out the punitive damages for property damage. Mr. Speaker, I ask that we vote yes.
Shall the Senate amendment be adopted? Clerk will close the roll.
Ayes 97, no 0.
Ayes 97, no 0. The Senate amendment is adopted.
And the last bill in this category is House Bill 1500, which relates to civil actions, service of subpoena for certain electronic records. The legislation passed the House, subject passed Senate with the substitute. That Senate substitute is before you.
The delegate from Richmond City, Delegate Smith.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. HB 1500 is a cleanup bill related to one of the most exciting subjects around, service of civil subpoenas to out-of-state third-party companies when electronic records are stored in the cloud and not physically located in Virginia. The Senate made technical amendments to cross-reference other sections of the code. I move the Senate substitute and ask that the body adopt the Senate substitute.
Shall the Senate substitute be adopted? Clerk will close the roll.
With excitement, ayes 98, no 0.
Ayes 98, no 0.
Ms. Speaker, that completes that section of the calendar. We move to page 25 of today's printed calendar. We come to a new category, memorial resolutions laid on the Speaker's table. The memorial resolutions to be adopted in block are listed on pages 25 through 29, with the exception of House Joint Resolution 280 and with the exception of Senate Joint Resolution 238. They are out of the block. The remainder of those bills are in the block.
All those in favor of adopting the memorial resolutions laid on Speaker's tables are listed on pages 25 through 29 with the exception of those announced by the clerk will please rise. The motion is agreed to.
And continuing with the calendar, new category, commending resolutions laid on the Speaker's tables. Commending resolutions to be adopted in block or spread across pages 30 through 41. And in the block are all those bills listed except for House Resolution 206, House Joint Resolution 267, House Resolution 321, House Resolution 393. Those are out of the block. Everything else on the pages aforementioned are in the block, which is now before you.
All those in favor of adopting the commending resolutions laid on the Speaker's table, found on pages 30 through 41, with the exception of those announced by the clerk, will say aye. Those opposed, no. The resolutions are agreed to.
Mr. Speaker, members of the House, so that on page 41 we begin, if you're looking at it that way, House bills in conference. So we have received several conference reports. And the first one, I believe, is the lead chief patron is Delegate Price. So on page 41, we've received a conference report for House Bill number 6, Delegate Price's legislation that relates to contraception, right to contraception, applicability, enforcement. The conference report is available to the members here in the chamber, to the public at large, and therefore is now before the body.
Delegate from Newport News, Delegate Price.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. House Bill 6 is the Virginia Right to Contraception Act and codifies a person's right to access contraception by preventing any state or local government action taken to prevent access to contraception. In the conference report, we changed the definition of contraception to include usage for medical reasons not related to pregnancy. We also removed a redundant clause in Section E from the Senate version. And finally, we compromised on the enforcement section, taking the more measured approach. To finally get this bill over the finish line and to a governor that supports protecting Virginians' right to contraception, I move that we would accept the conference report.
Shall the conference report be agreed to? Clerk, close the roll.
Ayes 64, noes 34.
Ayes 64, noes 34. The conference report is agreed to.
Continuing in this category, House bills in conference, on page 43, Delegates Keys-Gamarra's House Bill 118. This conference report relates to discovery methods of delivery. Conference report for House Bill 118 is available to the members and to the public and now is before the body.
Delegate from Fairfax, Delegate Keys-Gamarra.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. House Bill 118 now conforms to, the Senate bill conforms to the House bill. They lay on top of one another with subsection B regarding discovery and district court added as part of the new statute. With the amendments, all other language is identical, except that the second enactment clause regarding the DCJS study is not included. I move that we accept the conference report.
Shall the conference report be agreed to? Clerk, close the roll.
Ayes 81, noes 14.
Ayes 81, noes 14. The conference report is...
Staying on that same page, we've received a conference report for Delegate Sullivan's, who's the lead conferee. Delegate Kilgore will be presenting House Bill 276 on page 43. That conference report relates to members of the Virginia State Bar, rules and regulations relating to schedule of fees. The conference report for House Bill 276 is available to the members here, to the public online, and is now before the body.
Delegate from Scott County, Delegate Kilgore.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. This bill dealt with the fees that lawyers pay each year, and it hadn't been raised for a long time. So when it left the House, it was unlimited fee and just leave it up to the bar, take it out of our control. The Senate would not agree to that. They first agreed to $400, and then they came back and said, no, we're only agreeing to $350. So that's where we ended up, $350, up to $350. The bar assures me it won't be doing that this year, but I would ask that we accept the conference report and vote yes.
Shall the conference report
Mr. Speaker.
The delegate from Rockingham, Delegate Runyon.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Speaking to the bill.
The delegate has the floor.
Mr. Speaker, thank you. With you accepted, with the Senate amendment for the first time in the history of this body, this bill will create the opportunity for us to create the lawyers an opportunity to contribute their fair share. I urge passage of the bill, Mr. Speaker.
Okay. Can we move this bill by for today? No, I'm joking. Shall the conference report be adopted? Kilgore and I got to stick together. The clerk will close the roll.
Ayes 95, no 0.
Ayes 95, no 0. The lawyers lose. The conference report is adopted.
Oh, I'm sorry. There were, Mr. Speaker, ayes 95, 0, no 0. There were 3 abstentions. I apologize.
But 95, ayes 95, no 0. Abstentions 3. The lawyers still lose. Conference report is adopted.
Over on page 45, we come to House Bill 505, Delegate McAuliffe's legislation, HB 505. This conference report relates to county, cities, and towns, members of governing body, continuing personal interest in certain transactions. The conference report is available to the members, to the public, and is now before you.
Delegate from Fauquier County, Delegate McAuliffe.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, this conference report simply adds new language to the bipartisan HB 505 that is narrowly tailored to address the conflict of interest issues we're having in my community. So I move the House adopt the conference report and hope everyone votes yes.
Shall the conference report be adopted? Clerk will close the roll.
Ayes 69, noes 29.
Ayes 69, noes 29. The conference report is adopted.
Okay, and then the last in this category, over on page 46, conference report has been received for House Bill, it's actually Delegate Ballard's legislation, House Bill 584. This conference report relates to the Western Virginia Public Education Consortium, governance, funding, duties. Conference report is available to the members, to the public, and is now before the body.
Delegate from Giles County. Giles County, that's where he's from. Delegate from Giles County, Delegate Ballard.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Speaking to the conference report.
The delegate has the floor.
Mr. Speaker, member of the House, the report clears up some minor technical differences in the languages between my House Bill 584 and Senate Bill 692. Specifically, the report removes language that refers to specific legislative districts, and it updates the language to make clear that the consortium does not have to file annual reports to the General Assembly if it is not being funded by the state. Mr. Speaker, members of the House, I move the House adopt the conference report.
Shall the conference report be adopted? Clerk, close the roll.
Ayes 97, no 0.
Ayes 97, no 0. The conference report is adopted.
All right, and now moving over into the category of Senate bills in conference. Senate bills in conference, there's about 5 of those to be dispensed with. Senate Bill 74, at the top of page 51, conferees are Delegates Cousins, Askew, and Moorfield. So Senate Bill 74 is a conference report that relates to affordable housing, local zoning ordinance authority. Conference report is available to the members here in the chamber and to the public at large, and is therefore now before the body.
Delegate from Richmond City, Delegate Cousins.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. SB 74 grants all localities in the Commonwealth the option to establish inclusionary zoning programs tailored to the needs of their communities. As amended, SB 74 is identical to my HB 867 that passed this body last week after the House agreed to the Senate amendments removing the reenactment clause and allowing the law to go into effect on July 1st, 2027. Mr. Speaker, I move that the House adopt the conference report.
Shall the conference report be adopted? Clerk will close the roll.
Ayes 65, noes 32.
Ayes 65, noes 32. The conference report is adopted.
Same category. Going ahead to page 57, conference report is received on Senate Bill 425, which I believe Delegate Simons is the lead conferee. Senate Bill 425 on page 57. This conference report relates to comprehensive plan environmental justice strategy. The conference report is available to the members in the body, to the public at large, and is now before you.
Delegate from Newport News, Delegate Simons.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. SB 425 requires localities to consider adopting an environmental justice strategy during their next update to the comprehensive plan. The conference report adds a sentence collecting baseline health data. Mr. Speaker, I move the House adopt the conference report.
Shall the conference report be adopted? Clerk will close the roll.
Ayes 63, noes 34.
Ayes 63, noes 34. The conference report is adopted.
Over on page 60, if you're following along that way, I believe we have a conference report for Senate Bill 596, which I believe Delegate Price is the lead conferee. So Senate Bill 596. This conference report relates to contraception, right to contraception, applicability, enforcement. Conference reports this for Senate Bill 596 is before the body, available to the public as well, and there you have it.
Delegate from Newport News, Delegate Price.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Speaker. This is the cognate to House Bill 6 that we just voted on for the right to contraception in the Commonwealth of Virginia. I move that we accept the conference report.
Shall the conference report be adopted? Clerk will close the roll.
Ayes 64, noes 32.
Ayes 64, noes 32. The conference report is adopted.
Over on page 62, we have received a conference report on Senate Bill 648, which I believe Delegate McAuliffe is the lead. Anyway, Senate Bill 648. I'm trying to help y'all. Senate Bill 648. This conference report would suspend certain officers, require a study, adopt a remedial plan, and establish meeting requirements of town councils in certain towns. Conference report Senate Bill 648 available to the public and to the members here, and is before you now.
Delegate from Fairfax, Delegate Helmer.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, can this bill go by for the day?
Without objection, the conference report goes by for the day.
62-1. And over on page 63, the last conference report is Senate Bill 692. Conference report for 692, SB 692, relates to Western Virginia Public Education Consortium, governance funding duties. Conference report is available to the members here and to the public and is now before the body.
Delegate from Roanoke City, Delegate Rasool.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, the conference report that is before you for Senate Bill 692 is now identical to the House Bill 584 that we just adopted a conference report on that made some changes and modifications at the request of the stakeholders. I hope it will be the pleasure of the body to adopt the conference report.
Shall the conference report be adopted? Clerk will close the roll.
Ayes 97, no, 0.
Ayes 97, no 0. The conference report is adopted.
All right, Mr. Speaker, so that's all the conference reports that we have at this time. And just by way of information for the body, we rejected 8 House bills with Senate amendments that have to be communicated over to them. And so as we are, I think, preparing to take a recess, at the recess, which is forthcoming, the Committee for Courts of Justice will meet immediately upon the recess. Down in House Room 1 here, just downstairs. I think that's going to be a very quick and brief meeting. And then 15 minutes after the recess, the Committee on Privileges and Elections will be over in House Committee Room C on the 2nd floor. So they have, I think, a confirming resolution to deal with amongst whatever else, perhaps. So those are the only 2 legislative activities going on during the recess. That's all the announcements I have.
Delegate from Alexander, Doug Herring.
Mr. Speaker, move that the House stand in recess until 2:38. 2:40.
The delegate from Alexander, which one? The delegate
2:40.
Okay, the delegate from Alexander, Delegate Herring, moves that the House stand in recess until 2:40. All those in favor say aye. All those opposed, no. The House is in recess. The motion is agreed to. The House is in recess until 2:40.